Welcome to Movies Are Spiritual. I'm Doug, and today we're talking about a nice movie in my heart. You know, it's been with me for a while, and I do enjoy it. It's got a lot of good themes in it, not wanting to grow up too quickly, doing the right things for the wrong reasons, and then trying to change that.
Peter Pan.
Dealing with new experiences, being on your own, and what happens if you take a big laser and point it at a big tinfoil ball of popcorn? The most important question.
Am I supposed to know
Ladies
that?
and gentlemen, we're talking about Real Genius, starring Val Kilmer.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. We did.
Way out in left field. Yeah. This one, this is a movie. When did that come out? Like 84?
4, maybe?
5.
5, yeah.
Right after Top Secret. Real Genius. Okay, so this stars Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is the star. He's the name. He's the person people are going to go see. Val Kilmer's known at this point, but he's not actually the main character. He kind of is. There's two main characters. Val Kilmer plays a guy named Chris Knight, and he is a senior at this prestigious college like an MIT, Harvard. Geniuses go there. Okay. And this is his last year. And his job is to kind of mentor this new freshman who's coming in, who's a 14-year-old kid named Mitch Taylor. And he's such a genius that he's going to be starting his freshman year of college at the age of 14. As they kind of introduce the characters, Mitch is very, very straight-laced. Very, what's the Big Bang Theory guy?
Sheldon,
yeah. He's very Sheldon-like. Somebody's like, let me give you a piece of advice. And he like pulls out a notepad. And he's like, sir? Just very that. And it's like you expect Chris Knight or Val Kilmer's character to be this guy too. He isn't. He's realized that you cannot obsess about one thing and to be able to enjoy yourself at the same time. And he figured that out through college. And now he is this party man, wild guy, does crazy things, still a genius, still able to do what he needs to do, but he's actually not just obsessing about school the entire time. He's actually having a life, having fun, and everything like that, which is also a great message. I'm not saying go to college and party, but if you go to college and you just sit there and study, and that's all you do, you're going to burn out. You're just going to snap. And they talk about that in this movie. They actually show it in kind of a comic form. But so anyway, while going to college, they also have a job for Professor Jerry Hathaway, played by
William
Atherton. Yeah,
the bad guy in everything.
Every 80s movie.
Die Hard, Ghostbusters.
Yep. Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 2, yeah.
He's a professor, and he's kind of famous. He's got like this Bill Nye type show on TV. He's the main professor. He's rich. He's popular and very smart. So the government asks him to build this weapon that they can use against their enemies. And it's basically this insane laser they can shoot from space, from a spaceship, and can literally shoot a single person on anywhere on the earth.
like a drone?
No, there was a dude up in space that's supposed to do this. So anyway, he gets his smartest students, Chris Knight and Mitch Taylor, to build this for him, basically. So, they think that they are working on a project to help them pass college, graduate, move on in life, when in reality, they find out that they're building this weapon of destruction. And that just kind of upsets them, obviously. And so the last part of the movie is all about them trying to stop this weapon from being tested. And that's where the popcorn comes in. You got to watch it to get there.
This is the plot of Resident Evil 4, the video game, and Luis's character.
Oh, really?
They were probably playing off. Well, it could just be a story
Interesting.
archetype that's popular, but I'm like, maybe they played off Real Genius because they love that movie.
It is a super underrated movie. This movie should be much more popular than it is. It is funny. It has some decent moments in it, you know. I mean, there's a point where so Mitch, being this 14-year-old kid hanging out with basically adults, young adults, he's struggling. He's getting bullied by some of the bad nerds, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, he was expecting to come here and work and study with this amazing popular student named Chris Knight, and all Chris Knight wants to do is party and have fun and joke around and stuff like that. And so he's about to quit college. He's about to, you know, he calls his mom and says, "I'm coming home." And Chris Knight has to explain to him, it's like, "Man, you cannot be this guy, because there was once this guy who was like that, who just completely snapped." And he's in this movie too. He actually lives in Chris Knight's closet, but actually behind the closet where there's this whole underground lair that he lives in and prints up tickets to put into a drawing to win stuff.
Is that how he makes money?
Yes. It's, you know, I mean, you know, this movie goes 20 different ways. You know, they got kind of a little love interest for Mitch. It's this girl named Jordan, and she's a genius, but she doesn't sleep, and she never, she's always hyper, and she's always talking like this. And it's like, hey, you know, I never sleep. So, you know, the other night I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make him a sweater. So I made you a sweater. I think I know your size. You're about the same size as my brother. So I'm going to, you know, that's her character. They got another character named Ick, and he's this guy who's great with coming up with different concoctions and stuff like that. He actually builds an ice rink in the college dorm hallway using gases and stuff like that. And they're ice skating around the dorms. And it's just, it's kind of the over the top college movie, but there's a lot of science in it. There's a lot more comedy. It's not the raunchy like Revenge of the Nerds, you know, which I do like, but you know, it's not that kind of movie. It's, you know, they have some partying, they have some fun, but then they talk about science, and then they talk about dealing with growing up, and then they realize, oh, hey, we made this thing and we won. We graduate. Oh, no, we didn't win. We just built a weapon that's going to kill people. And this movie just goes all over the place. And it's, I know I always say this, I every time I do a movie review, but it is a fun movie. You know, it hits all the parts. You know, you've got Kent, the kind of, you know, I was saying the bad nerd, you know, he's the guy who's trying to be smarter than Chris Knight, but he can't because Chris Knight is the genius. You know, of course, he's the star too. You know, so there's all these different characters that you get to meet and get to know, and the story goes in 3 or 4 different places, but there are some great messages in there when he's talking about you can't obsess about things. It's how you deal with being a kid living in an adult world, owning up to your mistakes and making up for them. There's a lot of cool messages throughout the movie, twisted in with some great comedy. Very clean movie. I don't think there's very little, if at all, any swearing. Yeah, just a lot of fun moments.
So how do they correct their mistake of building this mass destruction weapon?
Well, that's where, you know, again, it's the 80s and you have to kind of let your mind numb a little bit, but they end up breaking into this top secret government facility and hacking. And this, you know, like I said, this is 85. Hacking wasn't even really a thing. I think War Games had just come out maybe in 84, 85. And that was the first time you saw about it. So again, you know, they're on computers and they're hacking. They're using the phone lines and modems before the internet was a thing to communicate with each other from the secret military base and their friends back at college. And so basically they break in, they hack the computer, and then they take control of the laser. And throughout the whole movie, Professor Hathaway is building this new home and doing a lot of renovations, spending all this money because he's getting all this money from the government. And so the popcorn comment I made at the beginning, they put this huge tinfoil ball of just unpopped popcorn and they make it so the laser actually hits his house and basically bakes all this popcorn in one shot. And the end of the movie is, the house is just, 2-story house, popcorn coming out the windows, out the front door. It's,
That sounds familiar.
you've probably seen, again, if you're old enough where you used to channel surf back in the day,
Yeah.
and Saturdays you would see this on TBS or TNT 3-4 times a month.
Yeah,
At least.
it feels like I've seen.
Yeah,
just
it
that
wasn't. It wasn't the most popular movie because it came at, like I said, 85. So you're right around Footloose, Top Gun, Ghostbusters. E.T. was a couple years ahead of time, but there were a lot of huge movies, and this movie just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and it was still a great movie. And it's unfortunate it's not more popular than it is because, it is really good.
So the big themes are there's more to life than just work, and
Exactly.
I guess regret or doing
I
the
wouldn't
right
say
thing. type
regret.
thing?
I may have worded that a little bit differently. They were trying to do this project so they could graduate.
Yeah,
get
they
an
didn't
A.
know they were doing anything bad.
Right. And then they find out that what they did was bad. And then they decided, well, then it's up to us to fix it.
So they were basically used.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were used. And because they were used, they're like, well, then it's up to us to fix it. And they did.
They did. So that end scene where they blow up the popcorn. Did you know MythBusters actually did that on one of their episodes?
Oh, yeah?
They tried to see if you can actually use a laser to get to popcorn. So what they did is they had like a 10-watt laser, and they actually used it to pop a single kernel, and it popped. So they're like, "Ooh,
Nice.
Wow.
might be able to do this." So then they built like a scaled down version of the house, and they put all the popcorn kernels in it, and they heated it up with the laser to see if they could get it to pop. They didn't actually have the right type of laser available, so they had to use a different heating method. But they got all the kernels to pop. But what they found is the popcorn isn't strong enough to actually break windows. So it just doesn't expand to break the glass or break a door open or move a house off its foundation. Right.
Have you ever taken like 5 handfuls of popcorn, just stuff it in your mouth and just hold it there and then take another handful and stuff it in this cheek? You can get like 4 or 5 handfuls in there because the popcorn just breaks down, softens down to nothing.
So it is possible to heat popcorn using a laser. It's not possible to destroy your house with it.
Well, it sounds
Obviously it is because geniuses from this college made it work.
Yes.
But geniuses didn't write the movie.
Very true.
I'm kidding.
Comic geniuses did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that because it is. I never really thought about it until I just mentioned it now. But man, that movie is so underrated. And there's
really
some great quotes in that. We never quote that movie. That's a movie we should be quoting.
Yeah. I catch it on TV every so often, and I'll stop and watch it, and it's been a long time since I've sat down and watched it from start to finish because I always catch it here and I catch it here and I catch it here. But it is a good one.
I was going to say, sorry. They did a really good job. What they did in the 80s was they gave you so many different characters to relate to. So, if you're not this goofy clown that relates to a Chris Knight, well, maybe you relate to Mitch a little bit more because he's a little bit more straight-laced, but he's trying to open up. He's trying to be cooler. Or maybe you are just uptight and you want to talk like Jordan all the time. You want to do this, you want to do that. Or, maybe you're an ick and his name is Ick. And you're just, you want to have some fun, but you're still interested in working on this and working on this and working with your hands more. Just so many different characters to play around with. Yeah, you should definitely. You said you hadn't seen it, Nathan,
Yeah.
but you
That sounds
definitely
worth
should
watching.
because yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
it's like a deep college movie because most college movies is all about life in college. This is about life in college, but there's another story that takes it past that and takes it into something else as well. And you
Mhm.
don't get that a lot with other movies about college
Yeah.
that I
It's a
can
bigger
think of,
scale.
I mean, yeah, it is, you think it's this college movie, but then it gives you this twist at the end. It's like, oh, wow. Oh, now they're going espionage and stuff like that, I guess. So yeah.
Where other college movies aren't like college comedy movies aren't this smart.
Perfect.
Is the way to say it.
Perfect way
It's
to put it.
not.
Yeah.
They're like you said. Revenge of the Nerds is just how crass can we be? Van Wilder, how crass can we be? Animal House, how crass can we be? This one is actually entertaining, funny, but smart.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've intrigued me though. I feel like that's worth checking out.
Yeah.
And it holds up to today. I mean, it all takes place at one college, so it's not like you see a lot of needing to use cell phones and stuff like that. It's just having fun. You get a little bit of nostalgia. It gives you that funny college things. Like, for instance, and it's an 80s movie, so there's plenty of montages. There's this montage, yeah, where it's showing Mitch going to class and doing things, and he walks into class and everyone's there and they're talking, and then it's 3 weeks later he goes to class and he sits down and next to him there's an empty desk with a tape recorder on it, and there's one down there, and he comes back a few weeks later and there's 5 people in class and the teacher, and everyone else has tape recorders out and everything. And then finally at the end of the montage he comes walking in and everyone has tape recorders, including the professor has a tape recorder playing his so they have that kind of slapstick fun comedy stuff, but it does get deeper, and it's interesting.
It sounds like a college fantasy movie. That's what it sounds like.
Almost.
Yeah.
Because you do have and it's the guy who plays him, it's Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. The same guy. He's playing this. He's at this point he's probably late 20s, early 30s, and yeah, he was the smartest guy that ever went through this college, but he worked too hard and he snapped, and now he lives in the sewers or something. And the only way out is through Chris Knight's. And Chris Knight and Mitch are roommates, so Mitch keeps seeing this guy walk into the closet. He just walks in, kind of looks at him, and holding some old 80s McDonald's, and walks into the closet and closes the door. And hello, and he opens the door and no one's there. So it just, yeah. You need to watch that.
This has got to be the movie that got Val Kilmer the role of Batman, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
I would say Top Gun probably got him that one.
Yeah, probably right.
Good pick.
Yeah, good pick.
Liked it. But definitely a 100% recommend. Like I said, it's underrated. It's not a known movie. You think Val Kilmer, you think Top Gun, you might think
Doors.
Batman, The Doors. But he did a lot of comedy in the 80s.
Top Secret is still one of
Top
my
Secret. Oh, yeah.
comedies of the
Top
80s.
Secret's a very airplane style movie, or
Same guys did Airplane.
scary movie type, parody. So yeah, look up some old Val Kilmer comedy movies like that. He's a funny dude. He could pull it off.
Yeah. Well, listeners, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed this. Check our affiliate links. We're trying to put some movie merch related to the films we talk about in the links to the description. So check that out, and
Get that
we'll
thumbs
see you next
up.
time.
So the government asks him to build this weapon. Hey, cat.
Every time. Sorry.